Hello, my name is 80 Legacy, and I figured I would do something a little bit different for this devlog today. There really hasn't been that much done on the actual game itself. As much as I wanted to do something, I've felt a little bit burnt out on the actual game itself, so I've decided to still work on the game but in a different direction, just to reinvigorate myself. I'll get into the specifics in a minute. But the reason I'm in the battle screen at the moment is I wanted to do an actual tutorial for the game. Because I don't really think I've done a proper tutorial on the nature of how the classes work. I've just kind of thrown the game out there and gone, have fun. Now there's tutorials of a sort in the actual game itself, but I've never released anything to the public about it, so I decided I would do that now. So let's go over to in this video, and I'll do another video that is solely about the class design next time. But anyway, let's get into this real quick. So the fighter is not really focused on pure damage per se. What he's meant to do is draw attention to himself and kind of keep others safe. I'm still fiddling with some of those mechanics at the moment, but the general gist of how he plays is he's a general damage and tank sort of character, but he doesn't do as much damage as some of the other characters can. But I'll go into some key things you need to consider with him. He works mainly off TP, technical points, and as you can see, most of his skills are in fact locked off at the moment because we don't have any TP. And every class has a different means of generating TP, and you can do a number of different things with both of these skill sets. There's one way you can generate TP. Anyway, you can generate TP in that manner. I don't highly recommend it because attacking is not the most effective generation of TP. What is, though, is when you use Charge Blade. And if you do it twice, you get debuff. Not a debuff. Hold on. I'll just wait to show you. So the special ability of the fighter is that when he uses Charge Blade, it raises his attack and defense for a few turns. Especially when it comes to like enemies like this, it's quite important because it can negate damage done to him from bites, and it can let him soak up damage for a turn or two. I'm looking into upgrading Charge Blade as like a Charge Blade 2 sort of deal, where getting Charge Blade 2 generates even more TP than before, and possibly some other benefits so that it becomes more and more useful over time. However, I'm still looking into that and I haven't really found the direct solution just yet. Anyway, let's kind of look at what he can do in general. So most of these are skills you learn. through the skill point system, and you don't get these through levels. Most classes don't get skills through levels. Charge Strike is a default skill you get straight off the bat. It's pretty basic, and it's just a normal damage ability. However, this one hits repeatedly, and it's basically a slightly upgraded Charge Strike. Now, these other ones are dedicated to specific kinds of enemies and specific manners of dealing with enemies. Spirit Blade attacks things like undead and things like demons and stuff. Beast Blade is for purely beast type enemies. I know there was some confusion about this before on one occasion. A beast is classified as anything that looks like an animal, so long as it's a natural sort of animal. If it's something unnatural, beast does not apply to it. Anyway, as you will see, the weakness of the wolves is Beast Blade. Anyway, we don't need to do Charge Blade again. We can actually just go into another attack. Let's see. Let's heal Nero. Anyway, so that's basically the fighter and how they work. They're really quite simple, and they're not meant to be complex. There's some other skills like Shield Bash, Protect Ally, and Rescue. They are more defensive abilities, and there are a lot of miscellaneous skills the fighter adopts as the game goes on. So it's really not the most complex of classes. As you can see, it's mostly a tank, as some other characters will not be able to sustain hits like that. A few things before I move on to the Ritualist, then. The fighter actually increases their chances to get hit substantially when they use Charge Blade. And other characters can inflict this on themselves if they want. Guarding does increase your basic target rate, and I may change this a bit so that this really only really affects the fighter. But when you use Charge Blade, you are telling the game to increase the target rate on that specific character. So it's very important to know that using Charge Blade is a way to attract attention. It doesn't always work, but it can be helpful. Anyway, let's go into the Ritualist, which is a little bit more complex. Not ridiculously so. So, the Ritualist. As we observed before, TP is generated through damage and through basic attacks. However, that's not really the most ideal way to be generating your damage. Ritualist is very, very different, as you can see by this extensive roster of skills. So there are two types of abilities, same like the fighter. You have rituals which you cannot use at all right here, and these are purely TP based. You will rarely, if ever, have a ritual that is using MP. Anyway, how the Ritualist generates TP is different from other classes. Your basic attack is not going to do much. For instance, if you use this ability, you will not generate TP. And there's the guard skill doing its important business. Anyway, why did Deoxia not generate TP? Because the way Ritualist works is it wants you to inflict as many debuffs as possible. And the TP is a way of encouraging you to use your more helpful skills. Anyway, you have to use this skill a number of times. But there's another reason you want to do debuffs besides building TP. So I'll show you the other reason. We've now generated a sufficient amount of TP. So I want to show you what happens when you do this. You now unlock the rituals, and I'm going to show you Deoxios. Anyway, what you saw there was how rituals work in general. So with a ritual, the vast majority of these types of skill are directly based on what kind of debuff the enemy has on them. So let's look at Deoxios. And it tells you here, ritual that causes damage to multiple enemies, use minor curse state to inflict maximum damage. When you use a debuff that aligns with a ritual, what you end up doing is doubling or tripling your damage depending on the specific ritual or rite you were using. In the future, I plan to add a greater curse that does even more damage with Deoxios to kind of give that ability some additional lifespan. Because the best possible skill you can use in the game is in fact Nox Agnius at the moment. It's not end all be all, but it statistically is going to do the most damage for you. Anyway, similar to the charged blade sort of skills, you only have access to these rites and Deoxios to start with. But once you get a few skills learned, you can really start playing around. This class is mostly tailored to be whatever you particularly want it to be. You don't have to learn fire skills. You can learn a number of different skills to aid you in your battles. But ultimately, you should probably choose skills that are going to help you damage wise and learn new combos. I'm still working on adding more stuff to the Ritualist because they don't have quite a lot of rituals yet. And the fighter really needs some time and attention, I think. Because it's been a while since I updated him and given him more things to play with. I really need to work on multiple play styles, and I think job promotions, which are a thing I want to work on later on in this update I'm starting, will be very helpful toward that. I'm also thinking of making more frequent, more plentiful updates instead of making giant freaking expansion type stuff because I feel like I'm not doing myself any favors by, you know, making these long winded updates that take forever to release. And I think by that point, I lose any interest that I might have had. But in any case, I do want to go over what I have done this week. And I have done some things this week. So I've mostly been focusing on drawing some battlers and so on and so forth. I've not really been doing any in-game stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the first boss I drew up and got finished this week. And this is the Progenitor Demon, and it is going to be directly connected to the story in some fashion. I may make it may appear more than once, and there may be more than one of them. It really depends. I'm still kind of thinking about how it will be best implemented. I just had this idea for this monster for a little while now, and I thought it would be a great addition to the story. Because we have demons, but we don't really have any like boss demons and stuff in the Sacred Valley, and I think that's kind of a shame when the whole theme of that area is, the demon infestation. Why not really run with it? So this is one of the ideas I cooked up, and we'll be seeing it implemented at some point in the future. And this is the other monster I have gotten finished recently. This is a Earth-based boss. It's going to be an overworld boss as opposed to like a story boss. The Leviathan is another example of one of these kind of bosses, but I'm not ready to implement it just yet. I'm mostly getting like these big giant boss monsters ready on standby design wise so that when I want to start implementing them I won't be like struggling for ideas. I'll already have what I want. Now the majority of my let's see, the majority of my other designs are not currently inked and colored, but I do have like a good number of designs I've already sort of gotten. So if I can just get my video capture device up and running, add record, I think that's the right one. No, I think that's not the right one. Remove, it's probably the other one. Okay. Y'all can see the footage, so let's get that going. Alrighty, there you go. You guys can see my desk now. So I do have a number of other boss designs I've been designing lately. This is kind of like so this one is called the Alpha Thunderwolf, and it will be kind of like a mini boss. And this is just like a normal Thunderwolf, and it will be like a standard, more powerful enemy compared to normal wolves. They're going to be like yellow, orange kind of colors and lightning sparking, so on and so forth. They're going to look a lot better when these are done. That is a earth elemental kind of enemy, a little bit of a mix of an earth and spirit type enemy. I'm just coming up with random ideas that might be fun right now for more special enemies. And this is also kind of an earth style enemy. It's more of a steel based enemy. This is more of an idea. I don't know if people like it, so if you do like it, let me know, and I might finalize it. Now, these are the same monster effectively. I'm just not happy with either of these. These are both wormlings. They're basically like baby dragons, and they're not that great. But this is the Thunderbird, which is the third boss monster I have on the roster, and it is, well, the lightning based one, as you could probably infer. It is also going to be a little bit different from some of the other bosses in that it will be heavily based on ranged based fighters. So if you have, say, a fighter in your party, it's going to be a lot harder for them to hit this thing. Because this thing will focus on evasion and distance based attacks, and it won't be within reach of the fighter a lot of the time. So that's going to be rough for the fighter. But they can still do things like tanking and stuff, so that's going to be where their benefit lies. I drew something else, but I'm not going to show it on camera yet because it's kind of like a secret thing, and I don't want people to see it right now. And I'm going to put this back down because I'm not using it anymore. Alrighty. And I'm going to be designing some more monsters and stuff as the days go by. Let me see. Was there anything else that I wanted to show? I don't think there is. I just don't want to forget something and go like, dang it, why didn't I think of this? Oh yeah, the 7-wing. I can actually show you guys some prototype monsters I came up with. So here is the rockfish. Let's see, can you guys see my screen? Yeah. This is the rockfish. It's kind of a simple water-based enemy. It's going to have some high damage and defense, and it's going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. And it's going to be in the same update as the Leviathan, because the Leviathan is going to be a little bit different from some of these other monsters. It's going to take place when I add areas within the rivers and stuff. Like for now, water areas are just water areas that are meant to kind of like not go anywhere. They're just there for decoration. But in the future, I want you to be able to travel through water areas and find new secret little alcoves of the map. I've already kind of done that for the Ancient Hills in one spot. In the past few updates, you probably would have seen this new house that's on the water, and you can talk to this person who talks about boat licenses or something, but they don't do anything yet. It doesn't do anything, so don't get your hopes up. That's not in yet. I do have this other boss concept I started, and I'm not sure if I'm going to implement them just yet because, well, first off, it's work in progress right now. But this is the 7-winged dragon. It's a very old design for this world that I came up with a long time ago. And I'm kind of thinking of ways I can implement it. And I don't think it's going to be coming into the game anytime soon, but this is me showing you some of the boss ideas I have at the moment. Was there anything else? I don't believe so. Like I said, I didn't get much done this week. To be honest, I was a little bit sad by how little actual progress we got in terms of like downloads. I was hoping for some downloads with this update so I could get some more feedback, but that's just how it is. You're gonna have rough days in game development and so on and so forth. I just wanted to do something a little bit more special this week and mix things up. This was already on my mind, so I thought I would just combine a devlog um, with a bit of a tutorial video and show off some of the things I'm working on off screen, because I don't always get to show those kind of things. Anyway, my name's been AOD Legacy, and I'm sorry to take up your time. I hope this hasn't been too much of a ask of your time, and I hope you enjoy your day. I hope to do some more videos like this soon. If that's any interest to you, if you have any comments or feedback about the game, please let me know. I have many ways you can contact me on the community forums. I have an email you can contact me with, blake@drakeworm.com. Don't be afraid to send me messages. I won't bite, I promise. And I hope you all enjoyed your week, and hopefully I'll be back in the proper spirit of things soon. Bye, everyone.